Welcome back, viewers. You are still tuned into Prime Live. In Islam, we have the wonderful concept of waqf that allows the preservation of assets belonging to the Muslim community. In this country, Awqaf South Africa is a pioneer of this kind of philanthropy that has community-driven and committed to the upliftment of society. Now, this Sunday is an incredible initiative. The organization will be planting 800 fruit trees in the Parys area in the Free State province. Talking to us through this initiative and its purpose is the founding CEO of Awqaf South Africa, Zeinoul Abedien Cajee. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us on Prime Live.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, and thank you for having me.
As always, I'm always inspired by the work that Awqaf South Africa does. The dedication to community, the dedication to service of community is absolutely astounding. And yet again, we sit here again talking about some of the incredible things that Awqaf South Africa will be doing this weekend. But before we get into the initiative this weekend, can you talk us through the concept of waqf for anyone who hasn't heard of it before or is still learning about the concept? And can you also talk to us about how Awqaf South Africa has been able to champion the concept of waqf?
Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I think first of all, the concept of waqf should be more and more exposed to the public, because the whole waqf system, due to colonization, nationalization, and various other factors, was really decimated. So with the result that it has really been hidden under the carpet for centuries. So Awqaf South Africa is now looking at, since 2001, the revival of this whole concept of waqf, which is a very special type of charity in Islam that has been you can say, the oxygen of the Muslim Ummah, the means for developing Islamic civilization over the centuries. So in brief, the waqf is actually a charitable donation that one gives out of the goodwill of one's heart. So it is a very, I would say, a charity that comes from the heart rather than compulsion, like zakah, for example. Zakah is compulsory. Waqf is really a very highly recommended charity in Islam. It is a sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also a sunnah of his Sahaba, actually. So we say, be like Sahaba, make a waqf, be like the Prophet, make a waqf. So in essence, one gives this form of charity, which is a form of capital charity, not consumable. So it's unlike other forms of charity where we give and then we spend it in things that are consumed. The waqf always remains capital, and so the capital can be either in the form of property, it can be in the form of cash, it can be in the form of shares, any asset that can be donated. And the duty of Awqaf South Africa is to protect and conserve and to grow that asset. The income that gets generated out of these assets is then spent on charity work. So that's really the beauty of it. And the example that comes alive actually is from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he advised Umar ibn al-Khattab, as you know, one of the senior companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he had acquired an orchard, and this orchard was then like one of his prized properties, and Prophet advised him to keep the orchard, but as a waqf or as a sadaqah jariyah, which is also another word for waqf, and the fruits of the orchard should be sold, and the proceeds of that can be used for ummah development, the mujahideen, the wayfarer, the poor, the needy, for the families, for their own family, and some of it for administration purposes. So so in that sense, the waqf becomes a very powerful means of sustaining charity work through the ages, not only for the day, not only for the month, but
a long
you know,
period of
for a
time.
long period of time.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's so important to, educate our community about, the importance and the value of waqf and why it's so important for us as Muslims to, participate actively in waqf. Yes, it's a sunnah, but we also are always looking for ways and means to give back, give back to our communities, and this is an amazing way to do so. But I want to talk about the amazing initiative that is happening this weekend. Can you talk to us about why did you guys decide to plant pomegranate trees? And can you talk to us a little bit more about what the project is and how it was incepted?
Okay, so from the example that I gave you earlier on of the farm of Umar ibn al-Khattab was a date orchard. And that date orchard was there to produce income for the various charities and so forth. And we also find that other Sahaba also had these orchards, and they gave these orchards, and the proceeds of it went into charity. So that's basically one of the examples. And the Prophet ﷺ also encouraged people to plant fruit trees, not only planting trees, but planting fruit trees, because fruit trees obviously is something about food, and it's something about health. And well, if we were talking about pomegranates, then pomegranates is a Quranic fruit, and it's also a health fruit that we know of. And from a South African perspective, it's a very valuable fruit for marketing purposes, for selling, and income generation. So we have a farm, and we approach different people that have land available, and we thought that first of all the idea of the fruit trees comes from historical reasons, from the Prophet's example, and Umar ibn al-Khattab, Uthman bin Affan, and many others, Abu Talha. So these were people that had these orchards, and these orchards were there to produce income. So taking that as an example, we now create our own farms. We create fruit farms, actually, and also looking at from a perspective that we in South Africa have been a disadvantaged community with land and so forth. And now that people are beginning to own land, and particularly charity organizations, let's see how we can actually make those lands productive. For example, I know of a school that's got 30 hectares of land that is just lying idle. So why don't we actually grow fruit on those on that land? So we've identified two pieces of land that belong to charity organizations. One is in fact, both are like Darul Ulooms that are based on those properties. And so on the one, we're planting 800 trees. And I've got, just before I came here, not very good news actually, because there's lots of rain pouring this weekend. So we may have to postpone that particular planting project for the next week. But that's another point at the moment. So the issue about pomegranates, the issue about planting, I think this is an ongoing thing. So people actually donate the tree as a waqf. So the tree becomes the waqf. They've donated 350 rands. We bought the trees, and we've now allocated it to this particular Al-Huda Dawah Center. They will, and we have an agreement with them as to how what needs to be done. They will take care of the trees. They will nurture the trees, fertilize them, and there's ongoing maintenance. And the issue about fruit trees is that it takes a long time to actually fruit and to get harvest. So and this is also part of our long-term thinking, that waqf is not immediate. It has to. We have to think long term, and we have examples of long term thinking from Yusuf alayhi salam actually. So I think that's one of the areas that we think, inshallah, will produce income for the project where we planted. So the Dawah Center there, the Darul Uloom, eventually with their students actually will also learn how to grow trees and how to do farming, and so there's multiple benefits out of this whole project.
I think it's such a beautiful initiative, mashallah. I think it's incredible that Awqaf were able to bring together something like this. I think it's going to, like you said, it is a long-term project when it comes to fruit trees, but in 5 or 10 years' time, you'll reap the reward and the benefit of those trees, and may Allah reward every person that contributed to this amazing initiative. Now, I think one question we're getting a lot from our viewers is they're loving the idea of this project, but is there still time to actually get involved, or is there a way for them to still contribute to a project like this, or has the cutoff time ended?
For this particular project, the cutoff time has ended. They can volunteer to come and help us plant. I think that's one way of getting the community involved in the planting. The donors also very keen on planting and would like to come and plant. But unfortunately, this weather pattern has disrupted it a little bit. But other than that, if people would like to still contribute, they can for our next project. So inshallah, we will send out a circular about it once we find a suitable spot to actually plant. And we'll continue. In fact, right now we have a proposal in KwaZulu-Natal at one of the institutions there, where I mentioned they have 30 hectares of land. And the idea there would be maybe to plant either pomegranate or avocado, or I think they suggested lychee as well. So, the ground there is ideal for those type of plantations. And it's amazing that this particular institution has been in existence for decades, as far as I know, and the land is just idle. So we need to activate that land, and even from an Islamic perspective, the land needs to be productive.
Absolutely, and what a wonderful way to bring value and to bring so much of life and beauty to that land. It's absolutely amazing to see. But in closing, can we ask you, I know Awqaf South Africa also has multiple projects ongoing all across South Africa. How can our viewers get in touch? How can our viewers contact you to, maybe contribute towards a waqf? How can we get in touch?
Okay, I think the best way now is through our website. There are different ways to contact us, and contact details are on our website. Our email address, our telephone numbers are there. You can contact us through www.awqafsa.org.za. So that's the way to contact us. And if you want to talk to us personally, I think you can always contact INX and get the numbers from INX, inshallah.
Ameen. Mr. Cajee, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I mean, it's always exciting to hear the amazing initiatives that Awqaf South Africa are part of. And although this week's tree planting might get postponed, I think it's still incredible what you've been able to achieve. 800 trees, it's going to change so many lives, and so many people are going to be able to benefit from it. And like you said, the students who are, completing their studies, they also have a unique opportunity to learn how to care for these trees, how to nurture them and how to grow them. And little do they know the work that they'll be doing now to cater to the trees and to treat them and to nurture them are going to benefit students for maybe 10 or 15 years. So
hopefully
the reward
further down the line,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, they will also reap the rewards of being able to be part of that. So thank you for sharing this incredible
Thank you, Nazia.
initiative.
It's been wonderful talking to you.
It's always a pleasure to talk to Awqaf South Africa. Viewers at home, that is Awqaf South Africa, an absolutely amazing organization that has multiple different amazing projects all across the country. Please do contribute to a waqf. Please do contact them and reach out to them on their website. You can find out all the information there, or any contact information or information you might need. You can also You can also send any of your requests through to iNext Prime as well. It is an amazing way for us to give back to communities, and do make sure you keep your eyes peeled for the next opportunity for you to be able to purchase a tree. I think it's such a beautiful way for you to rather contribute to different communities all across South Africa, and for decades to come there will be people who will be enjoying the fruits from those trees.